First of all, graduates, congratulations. Job well done. Tons of work that you've gone through, trials, tribulations, laughs, and tears. It's now my pleasure to introduce your valedictorian, and that is Alessia Caputo. Alessia is nearly a registered psychotherapist. She's just waiting for some exam results. She's currently working at the Silm Center for Mental Health under supervision, and there she's working with adults and adolescents doing therapy. She also does some psychological and psychoeducational assessments with adults. I had asked Alessia to give me a little bit of information about her. And probably the first thing that I noticed was that there certainly were some separation issues with Adler since she has returned to be a teaching assistant in courses like ethics, CBT, and psychopathology too with Dr. Taslim. And it's our benefit to have her back. She also shared that when she originally started in this field of work, she was doing some case management. And her first episodes were with people who experienced psychosis and schizophrenia. She went on to say that she's now living her dream, but I think we mean she's talking about her career, not the emotional states that she had indicated. While doing her undergraduate work, she took up cross-stitching and embroidery to keep her hands busy while her brain was in overdrive. Also, she wanted to be a plastic surgeon or a figure skater, two somewhat divergent careers. But probably one thing that I can relate to was the final comment that she made. And that was that she's the first person in her 100% Italian family to obtain a master's degree. Congratulations. And without further ado, I'll turn the microphone over to you, Alessia, for your comments as valedictorian.
Oh my gosh, okay, the day's here. Let me just, how do I make myself smaller? Okay, there we go. Good morning, everyone, distinguished guests, deans, faculty, fellow students, family, and friends. It is with the absolute greatest honor that I'm here with the 2020 Master of Psychology graduating class today to present this valedictorian speech and express my gratitude to all those who supported me along the way. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the current pandemic we're living through and the many changes and losses that have occurred as a result of this. And although we are doing this graduation online, seeing everyone's faces virtually and hearing you all express your love and gratitude for friends and families has just really warmed my heart and made me really nostalgic for my time at Adler. So interestingly enough, my Adler admissions interview was actually 3 years ago to this day with Dr. Goslin. I remember how nervous I was going into this and how his really super calm and chill demeanor was in such a stark contrast to how I was presenting. So I began to speak about my work in case management. As Jim kind of touched on, I worked with people who had schizophrenia and first episode psychosis. And I used the term transference. And I remember Dr. Goslin asking me, oh, do you speak in those terms? And I replied, why, is that bad? And of course, we all know that isn't bad. It's actually quite fitting for someone who's wanting to pursue a career in psychology. But I think it really speaks to how worried I was about the prospect of beginning a journey at Adler and the potential to not be accepted or admitted. And yet here I am, and here we are as the 2020 virtual graduating class. We did that. On my first day of the fundamentals of psychometric assessment, I remember again feeling just as nervous as I did in that interview. And the first course in our degree is Motivation and Values, which is known among students as the class that really bonds your cohort together. And I missed this class while traveling, and upon seeing all my peers interacting with one another as the class began, I felt like I would never make up for this. I somehow mustered up the courage to calmly, maybe not so calmly, introduce myself in front of the class when Jim picked me to go first and made sure that everyone was aware that I was, in fact, a part of this cohort. The immediate connection I felt from my cohort winter 2018 is precisely what made attending weekend classes while working a full-time job not only bearable, but something I actually looked forward to all week and couldn't wait for the work week to end. I quickly made friends that I know I will have for life, and it became a running joke that it felt like I'd never actually missed the first class. Graduating class. This program taught us patience, courage, resilience, and helped us foster our internal strength. I was lucky enough to have 4 brilliant advisors throughout the process who each taught me important lessons along the way, and I really want to thank them right now and take some time to do that. Thank you to Dr. Andrea and Myrie Nurse for our portfolio seminars where you taught us the importance of going there to really know ourselves, for teaching me to write an amazing psychoeducational report, and for showing me how essential confidence is in this profession and how I didn't realize I was lacking so much of that. Thank you to Sarah Hallett for giving me the space to just be me and for seeing me in return, for offering me compassion and guidance when I needed it the most. What I learned from you, both as a supervisor and professor, has been invaluable to my growth as a psychotherapist, and I continue to learn the teachings from the trauma course to this day. Thank you to Dr. Victoria Creighton for showing us all how to be present and to trust the process, which I found so hard during my time at Adler. Victoria actually introduced me to the Satir model for therapy, which has forever changed my life. So much so that I found myself and my classmate and dear friend Reem boarding a plane to Winnipeg to then drive 2 hours to Kenora to then attend a 5-day retreat to do our own personal therapy work, not once, but twice in the span of a few months in 2019. And on the drive there, we saw a beautiful deer running out near our car. And this deer really became the focal point of the journey for me. I learned that in totem deers represent the ability to move through life and obstacles with grace, are sensitive and intuitive, and have the ability to regenerate and change direction quickly. So this is a kind of presence I continue to channel for myself every day, and one that really resonated greatly with me at the time. So as exhilarating as this journey and this retreat specifically was, it was not an easy one. Oh gosh, 1 month prior to this, my best friend Brendan died. He passed away, and Brendan was a fierce advocate for mental health and recovery from addiction during the last few years of his life, and he was an inspiration to the individuals he worked with. Without his encouragement, I may have never pursued this life-changing endeavor, coming to Adler, and to celebrate without him today is quite a challenge. So I would like to thank you, Brendan, for being the first friend to really see me, and for your warmth, love, and friendship that has made me a better person and a stronger psychotherapist. We love you. To my incredible, words cannot say enough, mentor, who I have the absolute honor of working for forever if she will have me, I thank you, Dr. Theslam Alani Virgie. Theslam has taught us ethics in the law, how to be reflective practitioners, and the importance of our ethical obligations as professionals in psychology. She also taught us, and specifically me, to above all, be good humans, and that will forever stick with me. Theslam was my supervisor during my thesis and never, ever enabled me to give up, no matter how many times I suggested potentially turning it into a master's research project instead. With her support, I was able to complete a thematic analysis on women's negative experiences with online dating, which was created with the intent to show women that their experiences were not just another statistic, but rather that their voices are important and their stories matter. I can't imagine having had anyone else supporting me through this. I also want to thank all of our families and friends for understanding that for at least 2 years, for me, 2.5 years, we were unable to attend any function on a Saturday, Sunday, maybe even a Friday night if we had an 8 a.m. class. And again, I want to specifically thank my parents, Manuel and Dominic, for accepting my frustration and my tears, and for building me up every time I felt like giving up, and for making sure I was always fed, especially by my mom, when I felt like there was not even enough time to breathe. I love you both more than words can express. Finally, I want to acknowledge us graduates. So it is because of our resilience, our persistence, and our nagging drive to learn and grow that we have made it here today and made the most out of our time in Adler. Virginia Satir said, "I believe the greatest gift I can conceive of having from anyone is to be seen, heard, understood, and touched by them. The greatest gift I can give is to see, hear, understand, and touch another person. When this is done, I feel contact has been made. And this is what the real gift of therapy is to me. So we have a duty, graduates. We have a duty to provide our clients with unconditional positive regard, to encourage them, to support them, to contain them, and to provide a safe space for them. While we have a duty to protect client autonomy, we also have a responsibility to the communities of the clients that we support and to not condone behaviors that hold prejudice or discrimination towards racialized and oppressed persons. We have a duty to check our biases, to address them, and to hold ourselves accountable to do the work involved in understanding where they come from in order to challenge them. We are supporting clients through a global pandemic while also experiencing it firsthand for ourselves, which is something no one could have predicted for our first jobs entering the field. We learned in Trans-Theoretic Foundations of Psychotherapy that we are the most important tool in therapy. If we aren't addressing our own blind spots, engaging in self-care, and ensuring we're in a space that is conducive to building safety for others, then we are not doing the work. And this work is part of the duty that comes with the journey we're on. So if you're anything like me, graduates, the person who you began this program as would be so proud to see where you are today. So just let that sink in. My fellow graduating class, I will end my speech by saying, let us begin our momentous journey together. And from the bottom of my heart, I wish you all the very best for your future. Thank you for bestowing this honor upon me today. That's it, thank you. Thanks.
Alessia, thank you very much for your words. I think in many ways you capture the story of all of the students in the program. First, it's a journey. Where you are today is so much different from where many of you were when you began. Secondly, it's about challenge. Doing things you never believed that you could do. And finally, it's all about change. And clearly in listening to each and every one of the people speak today, that refrain has echoed through what they've said.